All right, what's up, everybody? Ohio de gozaru. It is a rare Zatsu stream. How's everyone doing? What do I have? What's the source? Ah, that's what that is. Get rid of that. Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday, because it's the day after Monday, which was yesterday, which was the first episode of Real Mondays, which I hope that you all enjoyed. Thanks for watching that, by the way. Hi. What are we reading? I have Ye Old Yaoi book, aka more of the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. If you want to read that today, I got that here. Isaiah, thank you for the super. Ryohayo Ryoma Barrenwort of NIJISANJI EN's 10th wave Denauth gozaru. Hi, hello. Thank you for the super. Yeah, I got a book if we want to read that. We can chat, we can chill. Got about 2 hours together before we switch over to the Apex stream. Actually, I need to sub the we can do that right now before I forget. The redirect to the other waiting room. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we're gonna chat for a little while, just hang out, because I know we haven't had much one-on-one time. And we're checking out the new Apex season. Gonna be playing with some of my friends. Posted the announcements. Was it today? I don't remember, man. All the days, I've been so busy, the days just blur together. I think it was today. Where's my announcement post? Oh yeah, I posted it today. Yeah, I announced that we're playing in the V Up tournaments. It's called. It's an Apex tournament. Happening on Saturday in the wee hours of the morning for me and my pals. But we're gonna be playing as team friend game with my friend Komaria from V4 Mirai and Melizand from the game, the voice actress of Catalyst in Apex Legendos. So we're gonna be playing with them tonight, hanging out, doing a little bit of checking out the new season together, practicing. Once they're done hanging out with they have another group, and then once their slot opens up, I'm jumping in. Gonna be cool. Yeah, tournament time. Is this my first Apex tournament as an EG liver? Like Apex tournament? Yeah, it is. Yippee! It's gonna be for fun though. We play for fun. We're team friend game. It's all about friendship. Even our bullets are loaded with friendship guns. That's why if I don't down anybody or kill anybody during the event, it's because I'm running on pure friendship. Friendship. Do you want out, lady, right now? What are you doing? What are you meowing about? What do you want? Come here. What do you want? Come here. You have the zoomies. She just ate dinner, so she has the zoomies, like always. She always has the zoomies after she eats. You're crazy. What are you mad about? What do you want? What do you want? How's everyone doing today? How's everyone's week been? We haven't had a lot of one-on-ones recently. I'm sorry. I know all my collabs, or I mean, all my schedules for like the past couple weeks, including this week, and I think probably next week, have been mostly collabs. And I haven't really had like my pre and post yapping sessions like normal. I've just been low on energy, man. We're just like going from thing to thing. Next week's gonna be really cool too. Next week, there's a couple new games dropping next week, so we'll be checking those out as well, with a couple other livers. We've got, what are the games I'm looking forward to? There's a couple of extraction shooters, which I'm really excited for, because I like extraction shooters, but I don't have the time to like really sink into like what's like the main extraction shooter these days. I mean, you got like Tarkov, you got like, I haven't really heard much about Gray Zone Warfare or Arena Breakout Infinite recently. But I remember those were pretty made headlines when they dropped. But like Tarkov in particular, I do not have the time to put into that game, as fun as it is. That one is like, I feel like that game is like you gotta grind it, and I mean, I barely even like have time to play Apex these days, I feel like, you know. Ani, welcome back. It's been a while, but 1 month yippee, Mr. Yapping. Hey, thank you for the real memby. Welcome back. Yeah, we out here yapping today. So I'm excited. There's a couple new ones, and they're a little more arcadey, which is what I've been looking for. So we got Level 0 Extraction coming out, and today actually Hawk Ops. Oh God, what's the name? What's it called? Delta Force Hawk Ops. It's in my library. Yeah, Delta Force Hawk Ops just entered their PC alpha test today, actually, and I got a key. So we're gonna check that out next week. Maybe I'll slot it in like Guerrilla sometime this week if I have time, but like I don't know, man. I've got Apex tonight, I've got Apex tomorrow, I've got Valo practice the next day, and then we have Denauth, and then we have Apex tournament plus NIJISANJI EN, and then we have the Valorant tournament, and that's literally back to back to back to back to back. Blah, 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 blah. They're all back to back. However, if I find some free time, I'm definitely gonna try to hop on Hawk Ops, I think, because it has an extraction shooter mode, which I love extraction shooters so much, and I want to check it out. PvPvE, and then we also have Level 0 Extraction, which is another extraction shooter, which drops next week. Like, I think exactly a week from now, actually. So I'm looking forward to that too. Oh yeah, I forgot. I got a game called Tree Simulator. So I forgot that I bought it. Honestly, this should have been a Tree Simulator stream. If I remember, I'll write it in for next week. For another, like, if I have room next week for like another Zatsu, we'll do like Tree Simulator or something. I don't know. There's so many games in my library now. Before joining Niji, I was like a one trick Andy, pretty much just Apex. That was about it. But I've got so many more games now that I'm looking forward to like streaming for you all. But it's more, now it comes down to a matter of like, I gotta remember to like schedule them in somewhere, man. I have so many games that I want to play. How does it even work? You're just a tree. It's a sim game. It simulates being tree. Martha Plays, welcome back. Thank you for the real memby. Welcome back. Thank you for 1 month. I appreciate it. According to your age, you could be a tree. Okay, now hold on. Don't get it twisted. Trees are 100 years too early to take me on. Yeah, I actually don't know. I've never seen gameplay of the game, but I think you're literally just are a tree. I don't know if they do anything at all. I don't know. We'll find out. Oh yeah, I wanted to get the plastic ducks game. Do I have that one? Placid plastic duck simulator. I think that will be a good Zatsu game as well. So that's another one I need to get. Add it to my wish list because I just remembered it. Hi Laura. One of my nicknames for years has been the Lorax. I must be here for Tree Simulator. Oh my god, it's so perfect. I did the Lorax. The percentage of Apex streams out of all streams is now down to 19 instead of 26. It was a few weeks ago. Oh my gosh. I'm relapsing. Yeah, the duck sim looks cool. I was watching one of the JP livers like stream it, and I was like, oh, this is a good background thing for, this is a good background game for just like a Zatsu. Let's see. God, we still need to do our American Truck Simulator stream. I got Buckshot Roulette when it was on Steam sale. And I haven't played that yet. What else do we have? I bought Detroit Become Human, so I need to remember to schedule that because people were asking for that once we finished our Quantum Break playthrough. I think people were suggesting that when I was playing Quarry too, but it wasn't on sale at the time. But now it's on. Now I got it when it was on sale for a lot cheaper. I haven't played the first Descendant since our last collab. I kind of want to play that more, but let's see. I got a game called Flathead, which I think is similar to Buckshot Roulette, but I haven't played it yet. We still need to play Kukiyomi 2. I need to finish a little to the left. I think we're like halfway through that game. Or maybe more than halfway. I can't remember. I want to play more Naraka to justify the money that I spent because I swiped. So, you know, sunken cost fallacy. I need to play the game now. I have... Oh yeah, I bought the Hiragana, like, learn... Wait, where is it? Did I not install it? Oh, I don't know where those games went. I don't know, I bought, like, a game to practice my Hiragana so I can learn Hiragana. Oh, here you go. No, that's just Shingo. What else? I want to play Stardew at some point as well. Just gotta like start that. Alright, dude. There's so many games. The hardest part, the hardest thing is figuring out how to schedule everything. Oh yeah, Untitled Goose Game. Don't worry. You got Untitled Goose Game collab coming your way soon. Don't worry. If you're looking, if you want to see me play, if you want to see me become public Goose Menace #1, don't worry. I got you. When is that scheduled for? Hold on. I'll look at my calendar. I'm just trying to survive this week, man. Honestly, I'm just trying to survive this week. This week is so chaotic. I have so much happening this week. In a good way. But holy cow. Yeah, that's next week. It is next week. Yeah, so next week I will have you'll get to see me play Goose Game. So next week is going to be like we have an extraction shooter collab. We have a Untitled Goose Game collab. And actually it might be pretty open otherwise. If I'm looking at this correctly. But I also feel like I'm forgetting things because, you know, ADHD goes burr. Should be really fun, though. Oh, yeah, we have Rio Mondays as well. We have Rio Mondays every morning now. Guys, I woke up on time for Rio Mondays. Actually, it wasn't even that I woke up on time. It's that I didn't sleep very well before the Rio Mondays episode because, you know, just like when you have something new and you're just anxious about it. I didn't even feel that anxious about it, but I was definitely thinking about it. So, like, it was hard for me to sleep. But sometimes less sleep is easier to wake up from than more sleep. You know what I mean? I remember seeing Untitled Goose Game before it released. I was at a game convention. I think it was one of the PAX. Was it PAX or was it? It had to have been. Yeah, it had to have been PAX because I was with one of my friends, who lived in like the next state over. So it was definitely a PAX because he just like drove up for it. And I remember we tried that game. They were showing it off at one of the like. I'm like 99% sure it was a PAX Expo. And I remember they were showing it off at a booth and like it was so popular. Everyone was like, oh my God, this game is amazing. And it was really funny because it was called Untitled Goose Game at the time. And it was like, man, I wonder what they're going to call it. Like, I wonder what game I wonder what name they're going to settle on for that game. Little did we know. The answer was right in front of us it was staring us in the face the whole time. But I remember we tried the game there at the expo, their demo version. We like walked away from that. Like, that's a game I'm looking forward to. It was just one of those games that was like really, really cool. That like really stood out amongst like a whole bunch of other games. I'd love to get back to like a game expo sometime. to try things, because I never really, because like back then when I was going, I was still really in the death grip of like Rocket League or like PUBG. I can't remember which one at the time. Probably either or both, because I was playing both. So those were my hyper fixations. So I didn't really care about any other games, truthfully. So going to like a game expo, it was kind of like whatever, you know. I'll just like see what's here, but I'm probably not gonna play them. But these days now, I'm much more of like I'm much more branched out. I still have trouble like trying new games though, but like ever since I joined Niji, I've gotten like rapidly have gotten a lot better. And like before my attitude, even though I didn't want it to be, it would just be like things wouldn't interest me, like other games other than like my main games. But nowadays I'm like, oh heck yeah, I because before I'd be like, oh yeah, that's exciting, I would like to try that, and then I never try it, you know what I mean? These days I say I want to try it, and then I actually do try it when I remember to schedule it. That's the only hurdle. How about Minecraft? Yeah, we're gonna be doing Minecraft. That was originally gonna be for this week actually, with Denauth, but then I found, you know, it's my fault. I'm the one to blame. I found the other game that we're gonna play that looks really cool. Originally it was gonna be Minecraft this week, but then I found the game that we're gonna play for the weekly collab. But maybe next week then. Oh, Ring Fit. Yeah, I was watching one of the JP senpai doing their Ring Fit, and I'm like, man, I know the Ryonins would really like me to play this game. I have to get the controller for it. Hold on, let me go. How much does the controller cost? Let me Google it right now. How do I get Ring Fit? It's for Switch, right? It's not for like Wii. I can get it on. Oh my god, they have an accessories pack for Switch Sports? Is this official? No, this is not official. Let's see, Ring Fit. It's for Switch? Oh god, okay. Yo, it's $80, but it's probably for the game plus the thing, right? It better be for both. What does this come with? Oh, it comes with like the leg strap too, I think, hopefully. Is that what it comes with? I'm scrolling. I'm like, where does it show what it comes with? Okay, it looks like it does. Oh, $80, bro. Ugh. Okay. Do they have a renewed? Okay, well, we'll definitely pick that up sometime. Yeah, it comes with the game and the controller. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, I'll get the Ring Fit thing. We'll do a Ring Fit stream soon, TM. I was like, this is like a good, this would be good though, because like I get a workout. I've been slacking on my workouts recently because I've been so busy. That's my excuse, you know? So this will be good for me. It'll be good for me. Sounds awesome since you're exercising. Listen, I know the real, you don't have to be coy with me, chat. I know the real reason why you want me to play the game, okay? We're gonna do a 24-hour stream for Ring Fit if you want me to actually just hecking die. If you want me to just die, I mean, sure. Just in time for the Healthy Lifestyle VP. Yeah, that should be releasing pretty soon. That should be dropping in a few days. That one's gonna be. I hope that you guys enjoy the healthy lifestyle VP one. That one is, like the stuff I included in it is actually the stuff that I do. So I hope that's cool. That makes sense. If that makes sense. I obviously can't like spoil like the contents, but basically like the stuff that you'll be listening to is like actually like the things that I do for my like workout stuff. I really want you to get ring fit, so Ronin funds Riona's doing. Leanne, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I also need to get paper towels, so maybe I'll just order everything together. Let's see. Paper towels. I'm on my last roll right now. Yeah, I got you. I got you all. No, I don't want to do the recurring thing. I just want to do the one time. Do. Yeah, we're shopping. We're swiping. Executive Cal, thank you so much for the super. America, thank you for the super as well. I'll pitch in ring fit funds too. Thanks everybody. You don't have to do that. I appreciate it. I will get it for all of you. If you do the ring fit, we might get more motivated to work out. Yep. Yep. All right, hold on. I'm setting up my cart. Ring fit adventure. Where is it? Where did it go? Here we go. Add to cart. No, I don't want the protection plan. Okay. Ring fit contribution plus. Thank you, my big toe. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. Do this credit card. Continue. Deliver here. Okay, all right. Ordered. All right, it's on the way. It's on the way. All right, order placed. I gotta figure out. Oh man, my schedule next week is gonna be so packed again. We have 2 collabs. No, we have 3 collabs if you include the Denauth weekly. Real Mondays. I gotta put Ring Fit in there somewhere too. Plus probably Apex new season grind. So many things, man. Now the real question is like, do I try to make it a weekly thing? Where would I slot it in? Maybe I slot it in right after Real Mondays or something? It's like an option. Maybe. We'll figure it out. Yeah, I should try it first and see how I feel before I commit to doing a weekly thing. That's so funny. Ah, heck. Speaking of weekly things, that's what I've been forgetting to do. God, it's been nagging me all like the past couple days. I'm like, I'm forgetting to do something. I know what it is. I need to make my 4 weekly videos. That's what I've been forgetting. 4 weekly videos, my editing. I haven't done my editing. That's right. I was like, I'm forgetting something because I finished some other offline work today, and I was like, man, today felt like it didn't take as much time to do the things that I knew I needed to do as normal. Weird. But no, I did the thing. At the very least, I finished the most important thing that was due today. But I was like, man, that's so crazy. Today, I feel like I have so much more free time than I was anticipating. That's wise, because I was supposed to be editing videos. I just totally forgot. Frick. Oh, man. All right, it means I'm going to grind them out tomorrow before our Apex collab. That's what I'll be doing tomorrow, along with some other offline stuff that I have to get done this week. Oh, okay, let me write down. Okay, so I need to do this. I need to do this. Yeah. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah, and this thing, too. Okay, I got 3 pretty big things to get done this week. Okay. And I got 2 pretty big things to get done next week. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's gonna be crunch time tomorrow. I try to get stuff done before the days that they're due as well, right? Because like the bad habit that I'm trying to fix is that like I always procrastinate until like finishing things the day before. Like the day that they're due. Well, usually the day before, just because of the way that time zones line up. But so it's like I'm trying to get better at that as well. So like, for example, I have something that I really need to turn in on Thursday before end of day, but I'm gonna try. Well, that one I might. I don't know. That one I might. Just the way my schedule is this week, I might still have to do it Thursday day of. But I'm gonna try and get it done like Wednesday. You're procrastinating as you speak, yeah. That's how I always used to approach school. But I mean, it's because I didn't know that I had ADHD back then and stuff like that, where like I didn't know it was just like kind of the way my brain works and like time blindness and all sorts of things. But like, so I would always leave things until like literally the day before. But you know, it'll be cool. I hope you're all looking forward to it. All the different things that I'm working on. It's a good kind of busy. It's good to be busy. I would rather be busy than not have stuff on my plate at all. Oh my god. Did you guys see that the Japanese yen is getting stronger? Which is great. Great for them. I'm excited. It's gonna make my next Japan trip more expensive, bro. Dang it. I won't be able to shop quite as much next time I'm there. Darn it. I got to shop so much when we were there last time. It's okay though. It's okay. Yeah, I know. Less swiping, man. Man. All right. Let's see. All right, I got my ye old Sherlock Holmes book here. You guys want to read a story? I was literally on Macari looking for JP Live merch and it suddenly got stronger. Yep. Get your stuff now before it keeps... It's been trending getting stronger recently, so... Might be the time. If you've been looking at stuff, might be the time to swipe before it gets too crazy. Yeah, you want you want story time? All right, friends, let's do a little story time. I just drank my throat coat tea. Actually, may finish it. Let me top off. I'm just gonna down the rest of this tea before it gets cold. All right, cool. So, this is what we've been doing with the real members. The last 2 member streams is reading from the book The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, because it's a public domain, so you know it's like I can read it and not have to worry about like copyright issues or anything like that. So it's been really nice. Good thing. But now today we're gonna do it for all of you, whether you're a memby or not. All right, so we've read the first 2 stories in this thing. I forgot what they're called. It was the what was the first one? It's like Scandal in Bohemia or something, and then the second one had to do with like, I don't remember the title of the last one. Something to do with redheads. This is the third one. It's called A Case of Identity. All right. Oh boy. Okay, Old English time. Let's go. Please don't have anything sussy sounding this time for me to say out loud. Okay, please book, please. All right. This has some Old English and it's very tricky sometimes. All right. A Case of Identity. Let's go. Ikuzo. All right. My dear fellow, said Sherlock Holmes as we sat on either side of the fire in his lodgings at Baker Street. Life is infinitely stranger than anything which the mind of man could invent. We would not dare to conceive... Wait, I should turn off the... hold on. I remembered. All right, there we go. Turn off the background music. We would not dare to conceive the things which are really mere commonplaces of existence. If we could fly out of that window hand in hand, hover over this great city, gently remove the roofs, and peep in at the queer things which are going on, the strange coincidences, the plannings, the cross purposes, the wonderful chains of events working through generations and leading to the most the most outre results, it would make all fiction with its conventionalities and foreseen conclusions most stale and unprofitable. That was the longest sentence I've ever read in my life. That was like literally an entire page. And yet I am not convinced of it, I answered. The cases which come to light in the papers are, as a rule, bald enough and vulgar enough. We have in our police reports realism pushed to its extreme limits, and yet the result is, it must be confessed, neither fascinating nor artistic. Certain selection and discretion must be used in producing a realistic effect, remarked Holmes. This is wanting in the police report, where more stress is laid, perhaps, upon the platitudes of the magistrates than upon the details which to an observer contain the vital essence of the whole matter. Depend upon it, there is nothing so unnatural as the commonplace. I smiled and shook my head. I can quite understand your thinking so, I said. Of course, in your position of unofficial advisor and helper to everybody who's absolutely puzzled throughout 3 continents, we were brought in contact with all that is strange and bizarre. But here, I picked up the morning paper from the ground. Let us put it to a practical test. Here is the first heading upon which I come. A husband's cruelty to his wife. There is half a column of print, but I know, without reading it, that it is all perfectly familiar to me. There is, of course, the other woman, the drink, the push, the blow, the bruise, the sympathetic sister or landlady. The crudest of writers could invent nothing more crude. Indeed, your example is an unfortunate one for your argument, said Holmes, taking the paper and glancing his eye down it. This is the Dundas separation case, and as it happens, I was engaged in clearing up some small points in connection with it. The husband was a teetotaler There was no other woman, and the conduct complained of was that he had drifted into the habit of winding up every meal by taking out his false teeth and hurling them at his wife, which you will allow is not an action likely to occur to the imagination of the average storyteller. Take a pinch of snuff, doctor, and acknowledge that I have scored over you in your example. He held out his snuff box of old gold with a great amethyst in the center of the lid. Its splendor was in such contrast to his homely ways and simple life that I could not help commenting upon it. Ah, said he, I forgot that I had not seen you for some weeks. It is a little souvenir from the King of Bohemia in return for my assistance in the case of the Irene Adler papers. And the ring? I asked, glancing at a remarkable brilliance, which sparkled upon his finger. It was from the reigning family of Holland, though the matter in which I served them was of such delicacy that I cannot confide it even to you, who have been good enough to chronicle one or two of my little problems. And have you any on hand just now? I asked with interest. Some 10 or 12, but none which present any feature of interest. They are important, you understand, without being interesting. Indeed, I have found that it is usually in unimportant matters that there is a field for the observation and for the quick analysis of cause and effect, which gives the charm to an investigation. The larger crimes are apt to be the simpler, for the bigger the crime, the more obvious, as a rule, is the motive. In these cases, save for one rather intricate matter, which has been referred to me from Marseille, there is nothing which presents any features of interest. It is possible, however, that I may have something better. Very many minutes are over, for this is one of my clients, or I am much mistaken. He had risen from his chair and was standing between the parted blinds, gazing down into the dull, neutral-tinted London street. Looking over his shoulder, I saw that on the pavement opposite there stood a large woman with a heavy fur boa round her neck, and large curling red feather in a broad-brimmed hat, which was tilted in a coquettish Duchess of Devonshire fashion over her ear. From under this great panoply, she peeped up in a nervous, hesitating fashion at our windows, while her body oscillated backward and forward, and her fingers fidgeted with her glove buttons. Suddenly, with a plunge, as of the swimmer who leaves the bank, she hurried across the road, and we heard the sharp clang of the bell. I have seen those symptoms before, said Holmes, throwing his cigarette into the fire. Oscillation upon the pavement always means an affaire de coeur. She would like advice, but is not sure that the matter is not too delicate for communication. And yet, even here we may discriminate. When a woman has been seriously wronged by a man, she no longer oscillates, and the usual symptom is a broken bell wire. Here we may take it that there is a love matter, but that the maiden is not so much angry as perplexed or grieved. But here she comes in person to resolve our doubts. As he spoke, there was a tap at the door, and the boy in buttons entered to announce Miss Mary Sutherland, while the lady herself loomed behind a small black figure like a full-sailed merchantman behind a tiny pilot boat. Sherlock Holmes welcomed her with the easy courtesy for which he was remarkable, and having closed the door and bowed her into an armchair, he looked her over in the minutes, and yet abstracted fashion which was peculiar to him. Do you not find, he said, that with your short sight it is a little trying to do so much typewriting? I did at first, she answered, but now I know where the letters are without looking. Then suddenly realizing the full purport of his words, she gave a violent start and looked up with fear and astonishment upon her broad, good-humored face. You've heard about me, Mr. Holmes, she cried. How else could you know all that? Never mind, said Holmes, laughing. It is my business to know things. Perhaps I have trained myself to see what others overlook. If not, why should you come to consult me? I came to you, sir, because I heard of you from Miss Etheridge, whose husband you found so easy when the police and everyone had given up him for dead. Oh, Mr. Holmes, I wish you would do as much for me. I'm not rich, but I still have 100 a year in my own right, besides the little that I make by the machine, and I would give it all to know what has become of Mr. Hosmer Angel. Why did you come away to consult me in such a hurry? Asked Sherlock Holmes, with his fingertips together and his eyes to the ceiling. Again, a startled look came over the somewhat vacuous face of Miss Mary Sutherland. Yes, I did bang out of the house, she said, for it made me angry to see the easy way in which Mr. Windibank, that is my father, took it all. He would not go to the police, and he would not go to you, And so, at least, as he would do nothing and kept on saying that there is no harm done, it made me mad. And I just sat on my on with my things and came right away to you. Your father, said Holmes. Your stepfather, surely, since the name is different. Yes, my stepfather. I call him father, though it sounds funny too, for he is only 5 years and 2 months older than myself. And your mother is alive? Oh yes, mother is alive and well. I wasn't best pleased, Mr. Holmes, when she married again so soon after father's death, and a man who was nearly 15 years younger than herself. Father was a plumber in the Tottenham Court Road, and he left a tidy business behind him, which mother carried on with Mr. Hardy, the foreman. But when Mr. Windibank came, he made her sell the business, for he was very superior, being a traveler in wines. He got £4,700 for the goodwill and interest, which wasn't near as much as father could have got if he had been alive. I had expected to see Sherlock Holmes impatient under this rambling and inconsequential narrative, but on the contrary, he had listened with the greatest concentration of attention. Your own little income, he asked, does it come out of the business? Oh no, sir, it is quite separate and was left me by my Uncle Ned in Auckland. It is in New Zealand stock, paying 4.5%. £2,500 was the amount, but I can only touch the interest. You interest me extremely, said Holmes, and since you draw so large a sum as 100 a year, with what you earn into the bargain, you no doubt travel a little and indulge yourself in every way. I believe that a single lady can get on very nicely upon an income of about £60. I could do with much less than that, Mr. Holmes, but you understand that as long as I live at home, I don't wish to be a burden to them, and so they have the use of the money just while I am staying with them. Of course, that is only just for the time. Mr. Windibank draws my interest every quarter and pays it over to mother, and I find that I can do pretty well with what I earn at typewriting. It brings me 2 pence a sheet, and I can often do from 15 to 20 sheets in a day. You have made your position very clear to me, said Holmes. This is my friend, Dr. Watson, before whom you can speak as freely as before myself. Kindly tell us now all about your connection with Mr. Hosmer Angel. A flush stole over Miss Sutherland's face, and she picked nervously at the fringe of her jacket. I met him first at the gasfitters' ball, she said. They used to send father tickets when he was alive, and then afterwards they remembered us and sent them to mother. Mr. Windibank did not wish us to go. He never did wish us to go anywhere. He would get quite mad if I wanted to so much as join a Sunday school retreat. But this time I was set on going, and I would go. For what right had he to prevent? He said the folk were not fit for us to know when all father's friends were to be there. And he said that I had nothing fit to wear when I had my purple plush that I never so much as taken out of the drawer. At last, when nothing else would do, he went off to France upon the business of the firm. But we went, mother and I, with Mr. Hardy, who used to be our foreman, and it was there I met Mr. Hosmer Angel. I suppose, said Holmes, that when Mr. Windibank came back from France, he was very annoyed at you having gone to the ball. Oh well, he was very good about it. He laughed, I remember, and shrugged his shoulders, and said there was no use denying anything to a woman, for she would have her way. I see. Then at the gasfitters' ball you met, as I understand, a gentleman called Mr. Hosmer Angel. Yes, sir. I met him that night, and he called next day to ask if we had got home all safe, and after that we met him. That is to say, Mr. Holmes, I met him twice for walks, but after that father came back again, and Mr. Hosmer Angel could not come to the house anymore. No? Well, you know, father didn't like anything of the sort. He wouldn't have any visitors if he could help it, and he used to say that a woman should be happy in her own family circle. But then, as I used to say to mother, a woman wants her own circle to begin with, and I had not got mine yet. But how about Mr. Hosmer Angel? Did he make no attempt to see you? Well, father was going off to France again in a week, and Hosmer wrote and said that it would be safer and better not to see each other until he had gone. We could write in the meantime, and he used to write every day. I took the letters in the morning, so there was no need for father to know. Were you engaged to the gentleman at this time? Oh yes, Mr. Holmes. We were engaged after the first walk that we took. Hosmer, Mr. Angel, was a cashier in an office in Leadenhall Street, and... What office? Well, that's the worst of it, Mr. Holmes. I don't know. Where did he live, then? He slept on the premises. And you don't know his address? No, except that it was in Leadenhall Street. Where did you address your letters, then? To the Leadenhall Street post office, to be left till called for. He said that if we were sent to the office, he would be chaffed by all the other clerks about having letters from a lady, so I offered to typewrite them like he did his, but he wouldn't have that, for he said that when I wrote them, they seemed to come from me, but when they were typewritten, he always felt that the machine had come between us. That will just show you how fond he was of me, Mr. Holmes, and the little things that he would think of. It was most suggestive, said Mr. Holmes. It has long been an axiom of mine that the little things are infinitely the most important. Can you remember any other little things about Mr. Hosmer Angel? He was a very shy man, Mr. Holmes. He would rather walk with me in the evening than in the daylight, for he had said that he hated to be conspicuous. Very retiring and gentlemanly he was. Even his voice was gentle. He'd had the quinsy and swollen glands when he was young, he told me, and it had left him with a weak throat and a hesitant, whispering fashion of speech. He was always well dressed, very neat and plain, but his eyes were weak, just as mine are, and he wore tinted glasses against the glare. Well, what happened when Mr. Windibank, your stepfather, returned to France? Mr. Hosmer Angel came to the house again and proposed that we should marry before father came back. He was in dreadful earnest and made me swear with my hands on the testament that whatever happened, I would always be true to him. Mother said he was quite right to make me swear, and that it was a sign of his passion. Mother was all in his favor from the first and was even fonder of him than I was. Then, when they talked of marrying within the week, I began to ask about father, but they both said never to mind about father, but just to tell him afterwards. And Mother said she would make it all right with him. I didn't quite like that, Mr. Holmes. It seemed funny that I should ask his leave, as he was only a few years older than me. But I didn't want to do anything on the sly, so I wrote to father at the Bordeaux, where the company has its French offices. But the letter came back to me on the very morning of the wedding. You missed him, then? Yes, sir, for he had started to England just before it arrived. Ha! Oh, that was unfortunate. Your wedding was arranged, then, for the Friday. Was it to be in the church? Yes, sir, but very quietly. It was to be at St. Saviour's near King's Cross, and we were to have breakfast afterwards at the St. Pancras Hotel. Hosmer came for us in a hansom, but as there were two of us, he put us both into it, and stepped himself into a four-wheeler, which happens to be the only other cab in the street. We got to the church first, and when the four-wheeler drove up, we waited for him to step out, but he never did. And when the cabman got down from the box and looked, there was no one there. The cabman said that he could not imagine what had become of him, for he had seen him get in with his own two eyes. That was last Friday, Mr. Holmes, and I have never seen or heard anything since then to throw any light upon what became of him. And it seems to me that you have been very shamefully treated, said Holmes. Oh, no, sir. He was too good and kind to leave me, so why? All the morning he was saying to me that whatever happened, I was to be true, and that even if something quite unforeseen occurred to separate us, I will always to remember that I was pledged to him and that he would claim his pledge sooner or later. It seems strange talk for a wedding morning, but what has happened since gives a meaning to it. Most certainly does. Your own opinion is, then, that some unforeseen catastrophe has occurred to him. Yes, sir, I believe that he foresaw some danger, or else he would not have talked so. And then I think that what he foresaw happened. But you have no notion as to what it could have been. None. One more question. How did your mother take the matter? She was angry, and then I was never to speak of the matter again. And your father? Did you tell him? Yes, and he seemed to think, with me, that something had happened, and that I should hear of Mr. Hosmer again. As he said, what interest could anyone have in bringing me to the doors of the church and then leaving me? Now, if he had borrowed my money, or if he had married me and got my money settled on him, there might be some reason, but Hosmer was very independent about money and never would look at a shilling of mine. And yet, what could have happened? And why could he not write? Oh, it drives me half mad to think of, and I can't sleep a wink at night. She pulled a little handkerchief out of her muff and began to sob heavily into it. I shall glance into the case for you, said Holmes, rising, and I have no doubt that we shall reach some definite result. Let the weight of the matter rest upon me now, and do not let your mind dwell upon it further. Above all, try to let Mr. Hosmer Angel vanish from your memory, as he has done from your life. Then you don't think I'll see him again? I fear not. Then what has happened to him? You will leave that question in my hands. I should like an accurate description of him and any letters of his which you can spare. I advertised for him in last Saturday's Chronicle, said she. Here is the slip, and here are 4 letters from him. Thank you. And your address? Number 31 Lion Place, Camberwell. Mr. Angel's address you never had, I understand. Where is your father's place of business? He travels for Westhouse and Marbank, the great claret importers of French Church Street. Thank you. You have made your statement very clearly. You will leave the papers here and remember the advice which I have given you. Let the whole incident be a sealed book and do not allow it to affect your life. You are very kind, Mr. Holmes, but I cannot do that. I shall be true to Hosmer. He shall find me ready when he comes back. For all the preposterous hat and the vacuous face, there was something noble in the simple faith of our visitor which compelled our respect. She laid her little bundle of papers upon the table and went her way, with a promise to come again whenever she might be summoned. Sherlock Holmes sat silent for a few minutes with his fingertips still pressed together, his legs stretched out in front of him, and his gaze directed upward to the ceiling. And he took down from the rack the old and oily clay pipe, which was to him as a counselor, and, having lit it, he leaned back in his chair with the thick blue cloud wreaths spinning up from him, and a look of infinite languor in his face. Quite an interesting study, that maiden, he observed. I found her more interesting than her little problem, which, by the way, is a rather trite one. You will find parallel cases if you consult my index in Andover in 77, and there was something of the sort at the Hague last year. Old as this idea, however, there were one or two details which were new to me, but the maiden herself was most instructive. You appeared to read a good deal upon her, which was quite invisible to me, I remarked. Not invisible, but unnoticed, Watson. You did not know where to look, and so you missed all that was important. I can never bring you to realize the importance of sleeves, the suggestiveness of thumbnails, or the great issues that may hang from a bootlace. Now, what did you gather from that woman's appearance? Describe it. Well, she had a slate-colored, broad-brimmed straw hat with a feather of a brickish red. Her jacket was black, with black beads sewn upon it, and a fringe of little black jet ornaments. Her dress was brown, rather darker than coffee color, with a little purple plush at the neck and sleeves. Her gloves were grayish and were worn through the right forefinger. Her boots I didn't observe. She had a small round, hanging gold earrings, and a general air of being fairly well-to-do in a vulgar, comfortable, easygoing way. Sherlock Holmes clapped his hands softly together and chuckled. Upon my word, Watson, you are coming along wonderfully. You have really done very well indeed. It is true that you have missed everything of importance, but you have hit upon the method, and you have a quick eye for color. Never trust to general impressions, my boy, but concentrate yourself upon details. My first glance is always at a woman's sleeve. In a man, it is perhaps better to first take to the knee of the trouser. As you observe, this woman had plush upon her sleeves, which is a most useful material for showing traces. The double line a little above the wrist, where the typewriter presses against the table, was beautifully defined. The sewing machine, of the hand type, leaves a similar mark, but only on the left arm, and on the side of it farthest from the thumb instead of being right across the broadest part, as this was. I then glanced at her face, and, observing the dint of a pince-nez at either side of her nose, I ventured a remark upon short sight in typewriting, which seemed to surprise her. It surprised me, but surely it was obvious. I was then much surprised and interested on glancing down to observe that, though the boots which she was wearing were not unlike each other, they were really odd ones. One having a slightly decorated toe cap, and the other a plain one. One was buttoned only in the 2 lower buttons out of 5, and the other at the 1st, 3rd, and 5th. Now, when you see that a young lady, otherwise neatly dressed, has come away from home with odd boots, half-buttoned, it is no great deduction to say that she came away in a hurry. And what else, I asked, keenly interested, as I always was, by my friend's incisive reasoning. I noted in passing that she had written a note before leaving home, but after being fully dressed. You observed that her right glove was torn at the forefinger, but you did not apparently see that both glove and finger were stained with violet ink. She had written in a hurry and dipped her pen too deep. It must have been this morning, or the mark would not remain clear upon the finger. All this is amusing, though rather elementary, but I must go back to business, Watson. Would you mind reading me the advertised description of Mr. Hosmer Angel? I held the little printed slip to the light. Missing, it said, on the morning of the 14th, a gentleman named Hosmer Angel, about 5'7" in height, strongly built, sallow complexion, black hair, a little bald in the center, bushy, black side whiskers and a mustache, tinted glasses, slight infirmity of speech. Was dressed when last seen in black frock coat faced with silk, black waistcoat, gold Albert chain, and gray Harris tweed trousers, with brown gaiters over elastic-sided boots. known to have been employed in an office in Leadenhall Street. Anybody bringing, etc., etc. That will do, said Holmes. As to the letters, he continued, glancing over them. They are very commonplace. Absolutely no clue in them to Mr. Angel, save that he quotes Balzac once. There's one remarkable point, however, which will no doubt strike you. They are typewritten, I remarked. Not only that, but the signature is typewritten. Look at the neat little Hosmer Angel at the bottom. There's a date, you see, but no superscription except Leadenhall Street, which is rather vague. The point about the signature is very suggestive. In fact, we may call it conclusive. Of what? My dear fellow, it is possible you do not see how strongly it bears upon the case? I cannot say that I do, unless it were that he wished to be able to deny his signature if an action for breach of promise were instituted. No, that was not the point. However, I shall write 2 letters which should settle the matter. One is to a firm in the city, the other is to the young lady's stepfather, Mr. Windibank, asking him whether he could meet us here at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. It is just as well that we should do business with the male relatives. And now, Doctor, we can do nothing until the answers to those letters come, so we may put our little problem upon the shelf for the interim. I had so many reasons to believe in my friend's subtle powers of reasoning and extraordinary energy in action that I felt that he must have some solid grounds for the assured and easy demeanor with which he treated the singular mystery which he had been called upon to fathom. Once only I known him to fail in the case of the King of Bohemia and of the Irene Adler photograph. When I looked back to the weird business of the sign of 4 and the extraordinary circumstances connected to the study in scarlet, I felt that it would be a strange tangle indeed which he could not unravel. I left him then, still puffing at his black clay pipe, with the conviction that when I came back again the next evening, I would find that he held in his hands all the clues which would lead up to the identity of the disappearing bridegroom of Miss Mary Sutherland. A professional case of great gravity was engaging my own attention at the time, and the whole of the next day I was busy at the bedside of the sufferer. It was not until close upon 6 o'clock that I found myself free and was able to spring into a hansom and drive to Baker Street, half afraid that it might be too late to assist at the denouement of the little mystery. Why do they put it in italics? Is it like, if the word is in italics, is that like really signifying that it's about to heck me? Like, I don't understand. Denouement of the little mystery. I found Sherlock Holmes alone and, however, half asleep, with his long, thin form curled upon the recess of his armchair. A formidable array of bottles and test tubes with a pungent, cleanly smell of hydrochloric acid told me that he had spent his day in the chemical work which was so dear to him. Well, have you solved it? I asked as I entered. Yes, it was the bisulfate of the baryta. No, the mystery, I cried. Oh, that! I thought of the salt that I had been working upon. There was never any mystery in the matter, though, as I said yesterday. Some of the details are of interest. The only drawback is that there is no law, I fear, that can touch the scoundrel. Who was he, then, and what was his object in deserting Miss Sutherland? The question was hardly out of my mouth, and Holmes had not yet opened his lips to reply, when we heard the heavy footfall in the passage and a tap at the door. This is the girl's stepfather, Mr. James Windibank, said Holmes. He has written to me to say that he could be here at 6. Come in. The man who entered was a sturdy, middle-sized fellow, some 30 years of age, clean-shaven and sallow-skinned, with a bland, insinuating manner, and a pair of wonderfully sharp and penetrating gray eyes. He shot a questioning glance at each of us, placed his shiny top hat upon the sideboard, and, with a slight bow, settled down into the nearest chair. Good evening, Mr. James Windibank, said Holmes. I think that this typewritten letter is from you, in which you made an appointment with me for 6 o'clock? Yes, sir, I'm afraid that I am a little late, but I am not quite my own master, you know. I am sorry that Miss Sutherland has troubled you about this little matter, for I think it is far better not to wash the linen of the sort in public. It was quite against my wishes that she came, but she is a very excitable, impulsive girl, as you may have noticed, and she is not easily controlled when she has made up her mind on a point. Of course, I did not mind you so much, as you are not connected with the official police, but it is not pleasant to have a family misfortune like this noised abroad. Besides, it is a useless expense, for how could you possibly find this Hosmer Angel? On the contrary, said Holmes, quietly, I have every reason to believe that I will succeed in discovering Mr. Hosmer Angel. Mr. Windibank gave a violent start and dropped his gloves. I am delighted to hear it, he said. It is a curious thing, remarked Holmes, that a typewriter has really quite as much individuality as a man's handwriting. Unless they are quite new, no two of them write exactly alike. Some letters get more worn than others, and some wear only on one side. Now, you remark in this note of yours, Mr. Windibank, that in every case there's some little slurring over the E and a slight defect in the tail of the R. There are 14 other characters, but those are the most obvious. We do all our correspondence with this machine at the office, and had no doubt it is a little worn, our visitor answered, glancing keenly at Holmes with his bright little eyes. And now I will show you what is a really interesting study, Mr. Windibank, Holmes continued. I think of writing another little monograph some of these days on the typewriter and its relation to a crime. It is a subject to which I have devoted some little attention. I have here 4 letters which purport to come from the missing man. They are all typewritten. In each case, not only are the E's slurred and the R's as tailless, but you will observe, if you care to use my magnifying lens, that the 14 other characters to which I have alluded are there as well. Mr. Windibank sprang out of his chair and picked up his hat. I cannot waste time over this sort of fantastic talk, Mr. Holmes, he said. If you can catch the man, catch him, and let me know when you have done it. Certainly, said Holmes, stepping over and turning the key in the door. I let you know, then, that I have caught him. What? Where? Shouted Mr. Windibank, turning white to his lips and glancing about him like a rat in a trap. Oh, it won't do. Really it won't, said Holmes, so suavely. There's no possible getting out of it, Mr. Windibank. It is quite too transparent, and it was a very bad compliment when you said that it was impossible for me to solve so simple a question. That's right. Sit down and let us talk it over. Our visitor collapsed into a chair with a ghastly face and a glitter of moisture on his brow. It's not actionable, he stammered. I am very much afraid that it is not, but between ourselves, Windibank, it was a cruel and selfish and a heartless trick in a petty way as ever came before me. Now let me just run over the course of events, and you will contradict me if I go wrong. The man sat huddled up in his chair with his head sunk upon his breast, like one who is utterly crushed. Holmes stuck his feet up on the corner of the mantelpiece and, leaning back with his hands in his pockets, began talking, rather to himself, as it seemed, than to us. The man married a woman very much older than himself for her money, said he, and he enjoyed the use of the money of the daughters as long as she lived with them. It was a considerable sum for people in their position, and the loss of it would have made a serious difference. It was worth an effort to preserve it. The daughter was of a good, amiable disposition, but affectionate and warm-hearted in her ways, so it was evident that with her fair personal advantages and her little income, she would not be allowed to remain single long. Now, her marriage would mean, of course, the loss of 100 a year, so what does her stepfather do to prevent it? He takes the obvious course of keeping her at home and forbidding her to seek the company of people of her own age. But soon he found that that would not answer forever. She became restive, insisted upon her rights, and finally announced her intention of going to a certain ball. Her positive intention of going to a certain ball. What does her clever stepfather do then? He conceives an idea more creditable to his head than to his heart. With the connivance and assistance of his wife, he disguised himself, covered those keen eyes with tinted glasses, masked the face with a mustache and a pair of bushy whiskers, sunk that clear voice into an insinuating whisper, and, doubly secure on account of the girl's short sight, he appears as Mr. Hosmer Angel and keeps off other lovers by making love himself. It was only a joke at first, groaned our visitor. We never thought that she would have been so carried away. Very likely not. However that may be, the young lady is very decidedly carried away, and having quite made up her mind that her stepfather was in France, the suspicion of treachery never for an instant entered her mind. She was flattered by the gentleman's attentions, and the effect was increased by the loudly expressed admiration of her mother. Then Mr. Angel began to call, for it was obvious that the matter should be pushed as far as it would go if a real effect were to be produced. There were meetings and then engagements which would finally secure the girl's affections from turning towards anyone else. But the deception could not be kept up forever. These pretended journeys to France were rather cumbrous. The thing to do was clearly to bring the business to an end in such a dramatic manner that it would leave a permanent impression upon the young lady's mind and prevent her from looking upon any other suitor for some time to come. Hence, those vows of fidelity exacted upon testaments, and hence all the allusions to a possibility of something happening on the very morning of the wedding. James Windibank wished Miss Sutherland to be so bound to Hosmer Angel and so uncertain as to his fate that for 10 years to come, at any rate, she would not listen to another man. As far as the church door he brought her, and then, as he could go no further, he conveniently vanished away by the old trick of stepping in at one door of a four-wheeler and out of the other. I think that was the chain of events, Mr. Windibank. Our visitor had recovered something of his assurance while Holmes had been talking, and he rose from his chair now with a cold sneer upon his pale face. It may be so, or it may not, Mr. Holmes, said he, but if you are so very sharp, you ought to be sharp enough to know that it is you who are breaking the law now, and not me. I have done nothing actionable from the first, but as long as you keep that door locked, you lay yourself open to an action for assault and illegal constraint. The law cannot, as you say, touch you, said Mr. Holmes, unlocking and throwing open the door. Yet there never was a man who deserved punishment more. If the young lady has a brother or a friend, he ought to lay a whip across your shoulders. By Jove, he continued, flushing up at the sight of the bitter sneer upon the man's face, it is not part of my duties to my clients, but here's a hunting crop handy, and I think I should just treat myself to. He took two swift steps to the whip, but before he could grasp it, there was a wild clatter of steps upon the stairs. The heavy hall door banged, and from the window we could see Mr. James Windibank running at the top of his speed down the road. There's a cold-blooded scoundrel, said Holmes, laughing as he threw himself down into his chair once more. That fellow will rise from crime to crime until he does something very bad, and he ends on the gallows. The case has, in some respects, been not entirely devoid of interest. I cannot now entirely see all the steps of your reasoning, I remarked. Well, of course, it was obvious from the first that this Mr. Hosmer Angel must have some strong object for his curious conduct, and it was equally clear that the only man who really profited by the incident, as far as we could see, was the stepfather. Then the fact that the two men were never together, but that the one was always appeared when the other was away, was suggestive. So were the tinted spectacles and the curious voice, which both hinted at a disguise, as did the bushy whiskers. My suspicions were all confirmed by his peculiar action in typewriting his signature, which of course inferred that his handwriting was so similar to her that she would recognize even the smallest sample of it. You see, all these isolated facts, together with many minor ones, all pointed in the same direction. And how did you verify them? Having once spotted my man, it was easy to get corroboration. I knew the firm for which this man worked. Having taken the printed description, I eliminated everything from it which could be the result of a disguise. The whiskers, the glasses, the voice. I sent it to the firm with a request that they would inform me whether it answered to the description of any of their travelers. I had already noticed the peculiarities of the typewriter, and I wrote to the man himself at his business address asking him if he would come here. As I expected, his reply was typewritten, and it revealed the same trivial but characteristic defects. The same post brought me a letter from the West House in Marbank, of French Church Street, to say that the description tallied in every respect with that of their employee, James Windibank. Voilà tout. Tout? Voilà tout. Voilà tout. French? I don't know. And Miss Sutherland? If I tell her, she will not believe me. You may remember the old Persian saying, there is danger for him who taketh the tiger club, and danger also for whoso snatches a delusion from a woman. There is as much sense in Hafiz as in Horace, and as much knowledge of the world. The end. Fine. Voila. I don't know. It's spelled T-O-U-T. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it tout or toot. I don't know. That's all in French. Is that what that means? That's all, folks. Dear, thank you for the 1 month, and Amara, thank you for the 1 month. Thank you both for the Rio Membies. Welcome back. Welcome back. Close enough. Welcome back, Zally. We ball. Interesting. So the father dated his daughter to pretend that he was gonna marry her. Y'all are wild. That's crazy, dude. Alright, that wasn't too bad. They didn't have you say anything like crazy sussy at least, so there's that. Yeah, he catfished her. That's crazy. Brother, ew. Yeah. What? I didn't understand the single thing from the story. So basically, the father passed away of this girl, and then her mom got remarried to this guy, Win the Bank. So he became the stepfather. They were left basically some inheritance from the father passing, like they sold off their business and stuff. And so they had like good money. So basically the guy supposedly married for money, and he knew that if the daughter went and married some guy, then they would lose some of the money that they got like every month or whatever. Or was it every year? I think it was every month, right? So in order to prevent that loss of money from his stepdaughter, I should say, remarrying, he originally tried to keep her in the house and was like, you can't go out, you can't go anywhere, because he didn't want her meeting a guy. But then he could tell that that wasn't gonna work forever, that she was insistent on going out to, like, you know, the balls and the parties and the functions, and she would eventually meet a guy. Because apparently she's like, I think they were saying she's attractive, but also she's wealthy. So he cooked up the plan to disguise himself as a young man, because he was like apparently 15 years younger than, like, she said that he was only like a couple years older than her. So he was actually pretty much the same age as the stepdaughter, basically, right? So they're pretty close in age. So he disguised himself to be this Hosmer Angel fellow, and when she went to the ball, he swooped in and wooed her and proposed to her on, like, what, the first night or whatever. And then to really, like, convince her, to really seal the deal, to make it seem like he was really sincere about his love for her, he, like, had her brought to the wedding, to the church to get married. And he, like, had her swear upon a Bible that, like, she would always be faithful to him no matter what, even if something happened to him. And then conveniently enough, on the day they were to be wed, something seemed to happen to him, and he disappeared from the carriage that he was seen entering. And then so, because of the mystery, she was like, I'll be faithful to you forever. I'll never go back on my word. I believe that you'll come back. And that's why when she, like, told her stepdad about it, like, her mom apparently really liked the guy. I don't know. I don't remember if the mom was in on it or not, but she was, like, really upset about it. But then when she told her stepfather, everyone was like, oh, well, clearly he was he was upset about this, like, this guy running out on his stepdaughter or whatever. But then he was like, no, don't worry. He'll certainly come back. You just have to wait for him, which was, like, weird, right? But he wanted her to feel like she needed to wait, because as long as she was faithful to this guy who just up and disappeared and believed that he would come back eventually, that meant that she wouldn't go date any other men or get married to any other men. So basically that secured that she would be single for, you know, supposedly like maybe 10 years or so. And so that way his income was protected. Like, the family would still, like, they would still be getting all the money, because the daughter wouldn't go off and, like, take it with her. Yeah, I didn't really understand, Machman, if the mother was in on her. That part confused me, actually. I'm not entirely sure. The mom was, like, very... No, she wasn't on it, right? Because she was very enthusiastic about him, the Hosmer Angel, the fiancé. Because I guess she also didn't want her daughter going off and getting married because they would lose money. I guess, maybe they were in on it together so that they could keep the money in the family, I guess, or whatever. So, yeah. Mom didn't know, wanted the daughter not to tell. Oh, maybe she didn't know then. I don't know. That part was confusing for me. But basically, the stepdad was like, oh, if my stepdaughter gets married, we lose like $100 or 100 pounds a month or whatever, which I'm sure back then was a lot of money. So he was like, I got to figure out how to keep her from getting hitched to any guy. So I'm going to catfish her and then make her swear loyalty to this man. And then the man will something mysterious will happen to him, but I'll convince her that surely he loves her so much that he will come back for her, and she just has to wait, you know? Just spend all the money. I think he was like, yeah, but then people will know. They'll catch on to me or whatever. I don't know, man. That was a trip. The things people would do for money are nasty. Yeah, that was crazy. I'm assuming that he married for money too, because it was saying that he was 15 years younger than the mom. So I guess the supposition there is that like he was like, ooh, single widow, recently widowed, lots of money left over from her husband's business. Let me just scooch on in here real fast. I think that's how that went. Is this your first story live stream? I'm hooked. Yeah, so this is I've done this for the last 2 members streams for the people who are membership tier on YouTube, but I figured I'd also do some for all of share the enjoyment for some of you who aren't membered as well. The Sherlock Holmes stories are wild. Yeah, they've been really interesting. I like them a lot. I really want to find other public domain books too, as well. Let me look. Public domain books. But yeah, these are fun to do. I enjoy doing the reading things. I want to find one that doesn't have crazy complicated language too. That'd be cool. When he realized the daughter would get the inheritance, you'd be like, damn, married the wrong one. You know what's crazy to think about though is that like he was like the same age as her, so he just like, yeah, he definitely just kind of whiffed. If she's 15 years younger than the mother and 5 years older than the daughter, when did she have her daughter? I have no idea. I thought it said that he was 2 years older than her. Was she 5 years? I actually don't remember. The Time Machine? It sounds like a sci-fi book. The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. Does anyone know if this is a good book? This looks like it's public domain. Oh my god, the Tale of Two Cities. I'm having high school flashbacks, bro. Yeah, because H.G. Wells writes like sci-fi things, right? Yeah, because okay, War of the Worlds. Yeah, because I know that they wrote War of the Worlds, which is like the sci-fi movie starring Tom Cruise, The Invisible Man. Oh my god, the Odyssey. I remember reading the Iliad and the Odyssey in high school and having absolutely no gosh darn clue what was going on. I bet it would probably be pretty interesting to read it again as an adult, though. Because, like, it's one of those things where when you're in high school, you're like, I don't want to read this book, bro. This book is so long, and I don't know what's going on. Why are you making me read this? I don't care. Now, as a grown-up, I'm like, I would probably be able to read it and actually, like, enjoy it. Because I'm like, I actually do want to know. I actually want to read it. I do think it's probably really interesting. Yeah, maybe Time Machine. What's Time Machine about? So it's about time travel. So the time traveler's astonishing first-hand account of his journey 800,000 years beyond his era. What the hell? That's a long time. Published in 1895. I actually want to read this. Maybe we'll read this next because I'm actually really curious. I want to know what someone in 1895 thought the world would be like in 800,000 years. You know? Bye, Mars. Have a good one. Hi, B. Welcome. Invisible Man is good. Okay. I'll definitely check that one out too, though. Be VOD gang. Sounds good, Lean. Thank you. Let's see. The Invisible Man. Where's the summary for this one? This one. A scientist who creates a serum to render himself invisible and his descent into madness that follows. Ooh. Madness, I tell you. Madness. Madness. It's kind of like, anyway. It's like, it's really funny, you know, when looking at like, because, you know, like some of the older cards and stuff were like based off what they thought things would look like in the future, remember? It's always fun looking at older cars that were like, you know, they thought what they thought we would have, basically, like flying cars and rockets and stuff. It's like, I love that. I forgot what year those are from specifically, but like just that era, you know, everything had like really pointed lights and wing swept like lines and stuff. I love that kind of thing, man. I think it's super cool. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. And I want to play more Wii Sports. Or not Wii Sports. Switch Sports. Switch Sports does not roll off the tongue like Wii Sports does. More sports. Switch golf? Yeah, Switch golf. We need a Switch golf tournament. We need a NIJISANJI EN Switch golf tournament. That would honestly be fire. I feel like that would be fire. I feel like the challenge with that one though is like the skill gap would go crazy, and it would make it like kind of like hard, you know. That's the only thing. Because like I think the beauty of the games that they chose, not only were they like large team format, but like there wasn't, it didn't feel like there was a crazy skill gap. Unless you were team one, you know, I don't even remember their name. They did feel like there was a skill gap there because those guys were absolute monsters at soccer. But I still say Wii Sports by accident. I know, me too. Every time I have to correct myself, I feel like. What I really want to do, I want to do the volleyball one. I want them to do a NIJISANJI EN volleyball, like Switch Sports volleyball tournaments. That would be sick. And actually, I bet they could do golf if there was some way to like, if they figured out a teams format, right? If they could figure out a way to like score like teams, that can be cool. Because like I think you could do, how many can you do in golf? Up to 8? I wonder if you could do more than 8. But I guess they would have to do, how would they do, you know, because the volleyball is duos. So it'd have to be a bunch of teams of duos, I guess, right? So you would have like teams of 2 in volleyball and then teams of 2 in golf somehow. Actually, I don't know how that would work. Never mind. I don't know. That's too big brain for me. Math is for organizers. It would be sick if the volleyball mode was teams of 4, though. Imagine. Golf might be a slow game. Yeah, but it would be so entertaining. Come on. It'd be so fun to watch. Come on. There is my own thing that I've been thinking about organizing, but like, again, I'm not good at like logistics stuff. I have to think about too much, but it'd be fun to do, and I do want to do it. So maybe I just need to get through this week. I need to get through this week and let myself breathe a little bit, and then I can try and sit down and like figure it out. I'm also concerned because it's like one of those things where it's like it's hard because the challenge with anything is you want to balance the team so that it's fun for everybody, and I don't know what everybody's skill levels are in the thing that I want to run it, so I got to figure that out as well. But I think that'd be cool. I don't know, just thoughts. If we survive this week, we ball. Yeah, if we survive this week is the operative word. I gotta remember to like start writing my schedule earlier for next week. Yeah, if we survive. We got Apex tonight. We got Apex tomorrow. We got Valor the next day. We got Denauth the next day. We have Apex Tourney the next day, plus NIJISANJI EN, or not NIJISANJI EN, Niji Koshien that same day. And then the next day we have Valor Tourney. I'm gonna die. I think it sounds like there might even be Valo. I might have Friday might just be insane for me. Friday and Saturday might actually just be insane for me. Friday, Saturday, Sunday are gonna be. I'm gonna die. I'm actually gonna die. And then next week I'm gonna die because we ordered our Ring Fit thing. So I will physically die for the sake of content and your enjoyment. Look forward to that. What do you guys want me to play next week? So next week we have episode 2 of Real Mondays. I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna continue the content creator discussion. I might, just to like finish that up because there were some questions. So Monday might just be finishing the rest of the content creator questions I didn't get to. And then from after that, I think the week after that, it'll be some sort of like either like a life advice thing or like an AMA format. If you have questions for me, whatever. But next week now we have the Ring Fit thing to introduce to the schedule. I have extraction shooter collab plans. Not sure which game we're playing yet, but we're going to play a extraction shooter with a couple livers. I have the Untitled Goose Game collab coming up that week as well. I want to introduce, we need to get Apex in there because the new season grind. So Apex stream will need to be in there somewhere. We haven't started a story-based game in a while. It's been a couple weeks. So like maybe, I'm thinking maybe we start Detroit Become Human. Maybe, I don't know. There's too many games to play. There's too many games. There's so much stuff. Actually, maybe Detroit Become Human. So my only thing with Detroit Become Human, my thoughts on those things, tell me what you think, right? Because my thought is with a game like that, I'm like, if I play it on one day, I kind of want to play it the next day, right? So it's like fresh in people's minds. Is that probably not the best idea? Because should I do it where it's spaced out, like maybe even once a week? I have no idea, like what, I don't know how to make the spacing for those things. Because like in my mind, it's like, okay, if people come and watch the first like one day, they will probably want to continue the story like as soon as possible so everyone remembers. But then there's the other flip side of that coin where it's like if we do it like one day and then the next day, or one day break then the day after, it's like, what if people miss the previous stream and then they don't have time to catch up on the story? I don't know. Yeah, back to back. See, yeah, in my mind, back to back makes the most sense. But then I'm like, but what if people miss the first one? Would they rather have like time to catch up? I don't know. I don't know, man. Don't know. Back to back sounds good. Okay, maybe. So in that case, then what I might do is I might change it to whatchamacallit. Not this coming week, but maybe the week after when I don't have as much scheduled, I don't think. Yippee. I think it depends on how many episodes the game is expected, how long the sessions are. If it's only 2 sessions, then maybe back to back. Others maybe at least a day or two. That's a good point. How long has Detroit Become Human? Who knows? Maybe something more cozy or casual so they don't feel like we're missing a lot in one stream. Yeah. What I really need to do actually this time is like cap the stream length to like something reasonable, like 3 hours, so that people can catch up on the VOD more. Instead of doing like a 7-hour stream, because then I don't expect people to be able to catch up on that. What I really should do is cap like each play session to like 3 hours. That's what I really should actually do. It's like 12-ish hours. Okay. So then, you know, estimate we can, if I cap it to like 3 hours, then that's like 4 streams, right? You know? I think I'm a little traumatized from Quantum Break is all. Because that was like, Quantum Break, to be fair, because Quantum Break was crazy complicated, and I was recapping not just at the beginning of every stream, but like constantly throughout the stream for people. So I don't think we're going to have that same issue if you can even call it an issue, I guess. So I think I'm overthinking it a little bit, but just because that one I felt really bad that like people had no idea what's going on most of the time, including myself. So I'm probably overthinking it a little bit, but I think the point still stands that I need to do more structured streams with like time limits on them, you know? You know? You caught up on the Quarry VOD so it can be done? Yeah. Quarry was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun in that game. That one was fun. I liked Quantum Break too, but my head hurts for various reasons. But it was a great game. It's a cool story. But even catching up on the VOD, that game made no sense. Yeah, it was tricky. It was very complicated. I mean, it was, you know, it was sci-fi, so it makes sense. It was like a very like it was a sci-fi story with a really cool, intricately thought out plot. I'll give him that. So I appreciate that. Like it was a cool experience. It was a cool story for sure. They clearly like thought a lot. Did I love the ending? I would have definitely had the ending play out differently personally. But you can't win them all, you know. Liam, yeah, rip Liam, dude. I really want to play Armored Core. I've been slowly craving Armored Core recently. I've also been watching, like, there's another game that's out in, like, I don't know, I think it's like closed beta or something called Mecha Break, which is just like mecha but PvP, and so I think that's why I've been seeing like gameplay footage from that, and it's triggered that mecha itch in my brain, you know. I would like to get access to that game, and then I would definitely be down to play it. Looks like a hybrid of like Armored Core and Overwatch. Looks pretty cool. Oh my god, I forgot about Fashion Dreamer. You're right, yeah. That one too. That one's hard for me to remember because it's not in my Steam library. I pretty much like base things off of my Steam library because I can just look at that and remember. Here, I'm gonna make a new Trello card for myself. Okay, games to schedule. Let's do this. Let's do Fashion Dreamer, Ring Fit, Detroit's Become Human, Tree Simulator, / Placid Plastic Ducks. What else? Can't remember what else. That's a good. Those are some good ones though. Oh yeah, Armored Core. I need to do Armored Core. Okay. Yeah, the Fashion Dreamer one I keep forgetting about because I don't use my Switch. I got the Switch so I can play in the sports thing, but you know I don't really use the Switch that much because it's like behind my monitors, and object permanence, I just forget that it exists because I just don't see it. So I'm not like, oh yeah, I have that game on my honestly, as I'm talking right now, I'm like, oh yeah, we played Suika Game. I forgot that I have Suika Game and that game exists. So like I'm just now remembering that Suika Game exists, and we streamed it one time even, but like I honestly just forgot about it after that, you know. So isn't there Project Diva on the Switch as well? Probably. Probably. I haven't looked yet though. Have not looked yet. Okay, my tummy is grumbling. I need to go get food. I'm hungry. I think this is a good stopping point. Because I want to go get food, and then we will have Apex new season. Let's go. Lots of changes. Really excited. So many changes. Apex is so back. That's what people are saying. So I'm really excited. We got new map. We got new legend balancing. We got Nerfed aim assist. Let's freaking go. I actually don't think it's really that much of a nerf. I don't think it's going to really make any difference personally, but you know, it's something. At least it's nothing. It's better than nothing. It's just a tiny little thing. I don't think it's really going to affect anything, but you know, better than nothing. Not new guns, but like new gun. Well, I guess new gun meta. Yeah. All kinds of things. All kinds of things to look forward to. They nerfed aim assist. They nerfed controller aim assist. Because the game is just really dominated by controller players with aim assist. It's so strong in Apex. So they nerfed it a little bit, but not a lot. They didn't nerf the thing that makes aim assist really powerful in Apex. What did you think I said? Wait, what did you guys think I said? What did I say? You know what? You know what? I don't know. That's fine. That's what you guys heard? Oh my god. Nope. Hell no. I'm getting out of here. I'm gonna go get food. I'm coming back. Okay? I'm gonna go get food. The thing will redirect you into the waiting room for Apex. I'll see you for Apex in a little bit. Go wash your ears out with soap. Okay? Sound good? And then we'll come back and we'll play. We're gonna play a bit. And then I'm gonna join my friends Maria and Mel to practice for the tournament together. Okay,